7:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, I've been looking forward to this for days now. Jeremy Finley from Channel 4, investigative reporter. 15 Tennesseans have been arrested for drunk driving, but their blood work ultimately proves them innocent, but not before their lives are destroyed. And Jeremy Finley has been trying to get answers to this with the various law enforcement agencies, and he has not yet been able to get them to have an interview because he's trying to get to the bottom of why it is. And he's been investigating this for quite some time, and it's still happening. It is still happening. So why are we seeing some of these law enforcement agencies that are arresting people for drunk driving, but ultimately the blood work proves them to be innocent? What is going on? Jeremy Finley is going to join us here at 8:06 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, the Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. You can watch us on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, 99.7 WTN.com. If you're the type that likes to watch radio shows, here we are. And there is video to all of the audio that I'm playing for you radio listeners. If you're watching, you can see the audio as well. We've been talking a lot about Tom MacDonald. Now, if you don't know who Tom MacDonald is, he is a rapper. He's a pro-Trump rapper. I believe somebody said he's Christian as well. I don't know about that, but I will tell you that he has been out there. He has been trolling Gavin Newsom. And he and Gavin Newsom, they've been involved in a lot of back and forth. And here is his latest, is Tom MacDonald. He is promoting his new song, and the new song that he does have is about Gavin Newsom. The devil is a Democrat, and you ever heard of backmasking, where if you run a song backwards, there's a hidden message? You folks that grew up in the 80s, y'all know what that is. Louis, you're not as old as I am. You know what backmasking is?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So
yeah,
some sort of a satanic message if you run a song backwards. Well, he did the same thing with messages from Barack Obama and Gavin Newsom. Listen.
These two guys are evil, and I got the proof. You ever listen to a record backwards and hear the subliminal messaging? Well, watch this.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Heck you say. Heck you say. Heck.
So if you can't tell, that is Barack Obama when he is saying, yes, we can, you run it backwards, and the former president is saying, thank you, Satan.
Heck you say. Heck you say. Heck you say.
And trust me, you're not even going to believe what you hear when you listen to Gavin Newsom's speech in reverse.
I want to say a few words about the events of the last few days.
I'm Gavin Newsom, and I'm gay.
Obviously, he's messing around.
I'm an evil, weird man.
That's 100% real. And these evil dudes is what inspired my new song, The Devil is a Democrat.
I swear the devil lives in California.
And people are loving this song. I love this song. Do you know I actually listened to this song on the way home? And I hate rap. Joan even likes this song, too. The Devil is a Democrat. It is a song directly about Gavin Newsom, and that is Tom MacDonald. Now, it's actually pretty brilliant on his part, because I think that song could help us as conservatives, because McDonald's message ultimately is really good, and it's true. I want you to think about this, because Gavin Newsom, it is clear as bell that he is running for president of the United States. Gavin Newsom and the Democrats' policies, they are destructive. What are they, you say? Well, let's just go down the list, right? Allowing illegal alien truck drivers to get licenses. We covered that in the previous segment, in the previous hour. Allowing the state of California to give benefits to illegal aliens. That is true. Overall, allowing sanctuary state policies that impact all of America. Their soft on crime policies, allowing homelessness to fester in the streets of California, safe places for junkies to shoot up in San Francisco, and you have California. You got your high crime, number one in homelessness, and number one in unemployment in the nation. So if you want to start talking about what Gavin Newsom's policies are, well, those are his policies. And the problem that the American people have is that the policies of sanctuary cities, you know what the problem is? Is that they really do impact all of America. There's also the question, there's also some question about the character of Gavin Newsom. This happened in a debate.
The question is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. If you can't trust Gavin with his best friend's wife, how can you trust him with your state?
Did you know that story, Joan, about Gavin Newsom? Oh, Joan's off getting coffee. So Gavin Newsom, way back when, and I don't believe anybody really cares about this, which is why I don't focus on this, but apparently old Newsom had an affair with his best friend's wife back in the mid-2000s. He was, of course, still elected governor. Turns out the guy was also his campaign manager as well. So now, as we've been talking about this week, Gavin Newsom has started trolling J.D. Vance. Because, you know, he's been trolling Donald Trump with these Trumpian-like social media messages where he is sounding like Donald Trump. He's sending out tweets in, you know, all capital letters, and he's ending it, thank you for your attention to this matter, really mocking Donald Trump with his own tweets. And so now he knows that J.D. Vance is going to be more than likely his opponent in 2028. When it was announced that J.D. would be participating in the Zelensky meetings this week, Gavin Newsom did something to troll J.D. Vance. And I'm going to talk about that coming right up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is coming up on 7:15. Joan Jones is here. Time to check the roads. Did you folks hear that? Louis, could people hear that, what I did? All right.
I changed my voice to sound like Christy O'Brien.
No, I did something else.
Oh, what'd you do?
Nothing.
Dan?
Listen, if you didn't hear it, and if people didn't hear it, you know what? I shanked. I thought it was you, and it was whatever her name is, and I said,
oh
dadgummit.
darn!
I said, dadgummit.
Dadgummit.
So
Sure,
I said,
you did.
It's been like a 3 dadgummit day so far here on the morning show. Goodness gracious! Anyway, moving right along. Microphone on, microphone off, Mandis. So when it was announced that J.D. Vance would be participating in the Zelensky meetings this week, Gavin Newsom, he posted a video of J.D. Vance. Remember this whole video of J.D. Vance running after his son at the zoo, I think it was? No, it was at, where did this happen? Where he's running, and he's running kind of like a girly Joan. Where was that? Do you remember that? Joan Jones? Is she gone again? All right, fine. She's gone. Mount Rushmore. It was Mount Rushmore where J.D. Vance was, you know, kind of running gingerly after his son, and it went viral. And so Gavin Newsom posted that video, and it said, you know, go get him, J.D., you know, basically mocking J.D. Vance as well. And so clearly Newsom is going to start going after J.D. Vance because he knows that when it comes to the next presidential election, it's going to be J.D. Vance, it's going to be Marco Rubio, or it's going to be Ron DeSantis, one of those three. So now you have a new poll showing how close this race is going to be if J.D. Vance runs against Gavin Newsom. So this is from SoCal Strategies. A new poll is out. Now, before I tell you this, realize that these numbers mean nothing. But in a race, if it was between Gavin Newsom and J.D. Vance, Gavin Newsom comes in at 39%, J.D. Vance comes in at 37%. Now, the important part of that is that 23% are undecided. Now, if it was a race against Pete Buttigieg and J.D. Vance, I was surprised by this. Mayor Pete, according to this poll, gets 41% of the vote compared to J.D. Vance's 37%. Now, again, this poll means absolutely nothing. We have the midterms that we need to get through. We have another 2 years after that for the presidential election. We have an election campaign plus primaries before a head-to-head matchup as well. So I'm not putting too much, emphasis on all of this. I just don't, because I, again, don't think that this really means much of anything. But people do need to get to know who J.D. Vance is. Because can I be honest with you? And some of you may argue with me, and that's fine if you do. But personally, I will say this. I believe that Marco Rubio is more qualified than J.D. Vance to be president of the United States. Go ahead. Start texting in now. You hate me and you have no idea why in the world I would say that. Here's why I would say that. Marco Rubio from Florida, great state. He was a senator for a long time, and now he is making incredible inroads as Secretary of State. So from a pure resume standpoint, I believe that Marco Rubio, at the end of Trump's term, assuming everything continues to go smoothly, I think Rubio is going to be, from a resume standpoint, I think Rubio will do incredibly well. That being said, I think J.D. Vance is such an incredible communicator. J.D. Vance is so incredibly good. Need some video. J.D. Vance is so incredibly good at talking about the greatness of conservatism.
Now, I may not speak for many of you, but I was once comforted by these contradictions within the modern left. How could privileged whites march around with a straight face decrying white privilege? How could progressives pretend to love conservative Muslims despite those Muslims' views on gender and sexuality? But the answer is obvious if you think about it. And it's a very, very dangerous and very sad answer. The radicals of the far left, they don't need a unifying ideology of what they're for because they know very well what they're against. What unites Islamists, gender studies majors, socially liberal white urbanites, and big pharma lobbyists, it isn't the ideas of Thomas Jefferson or even of Karl Marx. It's hatred.
That's right. J.D. Vance properly defining what the Democrat Party is all about. It is all about hatred and Trump derangement syndrome.
They hate the people in this room. They hate the President of the United States. And most of all, they hate the people who voted for that President of the United States in the last election in November.
He's absolutely right. And I think that they hate J.D. Vance, not because of anything that he's done politically, but really because he has been by Donald Trump's side as Trump goes around the world, trying to find world peace. And he was the tie-breaking vote, by the way, of course, on the big, beautiful bill.
This is the animating principle of the American far left. Now, to be clear, it isn't true of most of the people who vote for Democrats. Most of the people who vote for Democrats, they're good people struggling to get by, even if we think that they're misguided in their political judgment.
Yep.
But pay close attention to what the leadership of this movement says outside of the glossy campaign ads and outside of the general election tested messaging themes, and it's obvious what animates the leadership of the modern Democratic Party. The far left doesn't care that BLM, the Black Lives Matter movement, led to a spike in violent crime in urban black neighborhoods, and it did, because that same movement also led to anarchy in middle-class white neighborhoods. They do not care that Islamism hates gays and subjugates women, because for now, it's a useful tool of death against Americans.
I think he has such good things to say. And listen, if you're driving your kids to school, this is probably the best lesson your kids will get today.
And they don't care that too many pharma companies are getting rich from experimental hormonal therapies because in the process, they're destroying the so-called gender binary that has structured social relations between the sexes for the whole of Western civilization. And they certainly don't care that deporting low-wage immigrants will raise the wages of the native-born because they don't mean to create higher living standards for those who are born and raised here, whether they're black, white, or any other skin color. They mean to replace those people with people who will listen to their increasingly bizarre ethnic and religious appeals. They are arsonists, and they will make common cause with anyone willing to light the match.
That is J.D. Vance. And again, a great lesson, not only, of course, in conservatism, but also it is a great lesson in what the left represents. It is 7:23 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 Long clip, totally worth it. And Joan Jones has the news at 7:30. Joan. 7:29 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm shocked, Joan. I'm shocked.
What are you shocked at, Dan?
More people agree than disagree with me about Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, where I believe that Marco Rubio on, paper with a resume will be more qualified than J.D. Vance, all those years in the Senate, and, of course, now doing a fantastic job as Secretary of State. But J.D. Vance is the far, far better communicator. So I still believe that J.D. Vance is my guy. But, and maybe you have J.D. Vance's, the top of the ticket, Marco Rubio, as the running mate. I don't know. And again, I still like Ron DeSantis as well. But I think it is going to be J.D. Vance. Do you know who else thinks it's going to be J.D. Vance?
Who?
Elon Musk.
Oh.
Elon Musk, their word is now that Elon Musk is going to start bankrolling a JD for President movement.
Whoa.
Yep.
And this comes after he started
the whole
his
thing
own...
about, the America First Party, whatever that was.
Yeah.
That is all out the window.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about this straight ahead right here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 7:38. Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Just to put a punctuation, maybe a period, on that conversation regarding Elon Musk, because I was up against the clock, Wall Street Journal is now reporting that Elon Musk, he did pledge to start that political party. Now he's pumping the brakes. Elon wanted to form the America First Party. Now he wants to support J.D. Vance. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. As he has considered launching a party, the Tesla chief executive has now been focused in part on maintaining ties with Vice President J.D. Vance, who is widely seen as a potential heir to the MAGA political movement. Musk has stayed in touch with Vance in recent weeks, and he has acknowledged two associates that if he goes ahead with forming a political party, he would damage his relationship with the vice president, the people said. Musk and his associates have told people close to him that he is considering using some of his vast financial resources to back J.D. Vance if he decides to run for president in 2028, some of the people said. Now, Elon Musk has spent close to $300 million to support Donald Trump and other Republicans in the 2024 election. So the only thing that I'll say about this is, again, this is from the Wall Street Journal, but what I would say about this is this would be obviously clearly a very good thing, because for the Republicans, it is a lot better to have Elon Musk on your side as opposed to against you. And so, clearly for yours truly and anybody who is part of the MAGA movement, I think that we need to, do whatever we can with Elon Musk to ensure that not only that he is supportive of J.D. Vance, but also supportive, ensuring that if J.D. Vance ultimately, eventually, maybe ends up as president of the United States, that we also have a Congress that is run, excuse me.
You're
by
all right
Republicans.
over there.
I'm all right, Joan. Hey, I gotta acknowledge something.
Yeah.
Sam has not been fired.
Oh my goodness, I know everybody's asking.
Yeah, folks. Sam is really good at his job. We love him, and he is so good that he is training now for news. And so Sam is going to be a fill-in news person for Joan and Weaves when perhaps Ken is off as well. And so he's.
It might have been a little too rough on him yesterday, and that's why he's not here today.
Did Philly Joan come out a few times?
Well, he's got to stay in line. How many times do I have to say it?
Well, okay, so he was supposed to be here this morning at 5 to train. Mm-hmm. I think Philly Joan tampered with his car.
Well.
I think you went to his house and you did something to his car to make sure that he wouldn't show up because, Philly Joan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get over it. And
sure.
he'll learn, he'll fall in line.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But no, he has not been fired. Mandis, why do you keep running off producers? I'm not. We're promoting producers because he's doing such a great job. So
I love it.
Yeah, and Sam is great. So
yeah, he is.
All right. Caroline Leavitt's press conference yesterday, by the way, don't forget, 8:06, we are looking forward to Jeremy Finley, Channel 4. He's going to be on the phone with us. 15 Tennesseans have been arrested for drunk driving, but their blood work ultimately comes back and finds that they were innocent, but not before their lives were destroyed. Why is this happening? And Jeremy's been doing this for, he's been reporting on this problem for quite some time. And so I've got questions. And so we're going to talk about that with Jeremy coming up at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Caroline Leavitt, one of my absolute favorite moments. Joan, you and I were talking about this way earlier in the broadcast. But she absolutely ripped. And this is cathartic for me. I love hearing this. She ripped the media for the way that they covered Donald Trump's meeting with not only Vladimir Zelensky, but also with Vladimir Putin last week. And she just, was this right at the beginning, Joan? Was this right at the beginning?
I think
or
it was.
Or as they say at the top, where she comes out. So you know how these things work, right? So it's almost like a talk show host. They come out, Caroline Leavitt comes out, and they'll monologue for a little bit. They'll talk about what is happening that day, and then they open it up to questions. This is what she had to say to the media.
However, one thing that has absolutely not changed is the media's negative and downright false coverage of President Trump and his foreign policy accomplishments. From the beginning of this entire process, much of the left-wing media has been actively rooting against the President of the United States in the pursuit of peace. Initially, the media ridiculously claimed that President Trump was somehow beholden to Russia for even agreeing to have a face-to-face discussion with President Putin inside of the United States. The media said President Trump was making a grave mistake by, quote, legitimizing Putin. They were aghast that President Trump would treat another world leader like a world leader. The media relentlessly attacked President Trump and claimed he suffered a, quote, major defeat for not immediately emerging with a final agreement, even though he said heading into that meeting, this was a meeting to listen and to understand how to move the ball forward. All weekend following those historic U.S.-Russia bilateral talks, we listened to clueless pundits on television trying but failing to claim that the president had failed. The so-called experts in the foreign policy establishment, whose record is nothing but endless wars, trillions of wasted taxpayer dollars, and dead Americans, have the nerve to try and lecture President Trump, who has solved 7 global conflicts in 7 months, about peace.
I mean, that she's only getting started. So she came loaded for bear, loaded for the media, and obviously she's right. I mean, I truly believe that these folks in the media would rather see World War III than Donald Trump walk away with an incredible victory. So we've got a little bit more on Caroline Leavitt. Also, the very latest on Ukraine and Russia. Have these two, have Vladimir Putin and Vladimir Zelensky? I'll be glad when this storyline is over because Vladimir, it's getting a little old. But have they actually touched base? Doesn't look like they have thus far, but I've got more from Caroline Leavitt straight ahead on WTN. Time to check the roads. As far as your weather goes, today it's going to be partly sunny, not as hot, but humid with a couple of heavy thunderstorms. Storms can bring flooding, downpours, and localized damaging wind gusts as well. High of 89, going to feel like 100 degrees. And thanks for listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I think, is it Lavrov, Russia's Lavrov? We have...
He's the foreign minister.
Foreign minister for Russia is out there saying now on CNN, security talks without Moscow is path to nowhere. Well, this is what drives me crazy. We were talking about this earlier. Nobody is talking about having security talks without Moscow. Vladimir Putin is the one that seems to be dragging his feet. That's all I'm saying. Now, Caroline Leavitt, as she was excoriating the media for their coverage of this huge meeting on Monday with all of those European allies, all of those heads of state, and, of course, Vladimir Zelensky as well. And she says, and I agree, that the reporting has been unfair.
This is the same president, by the way, who brokered the Abraham Accords in his first term, on top of more than half a dozen other peace deals this year alone, as I just said. We also saw yesterday the president of Ukraine and all of the other major leaders of Europe fly across the Atlantic Ocean to meet President Trump at the White House because of the progress that was made, and that, if you ask the media, failed meeting, but it was not. It was highly productive and it was successful. This is why Americans' trust in the mass media is at a lowest point in more than 5 decades. Diplomacy is a delicate process, and instead of reporting the facts about what is happening here at this White House and what is happening between this president and other leaders around the world, many outlets in this room continue to try to actively undermine the president and sabotage the efforts towards peace.
I mean, that is Caroline Leavitt, and she obviously had a lot to say. And I think that she's got them dead to rights. Have you seen the Joan? Have you seen the picture of the media as they're getting yelled at by Caroline Leavitt?
Oh no, I didn't.
It's like somebody farted in an elevator. It's that farted in an elevator look. So
yeah,
that is. So
they're all squished in there now, real tight. You know,
they are.
Yep,
they are.
Make it uncomfortable to be there.
We had a Louis who is doing a great job. And by the way, Louis, people are saying that Louis seems like he hates his job more than KGB did. Louis has actually affirmed to me, Joan,
yes,
that Louis, in fact, does not hate his job. Right, Louis?
Not at all.
There you go.
Oh.
Don't you love working with me, Louis?
Louis loves working with me, Dan.
You'll notice he said absolutely nothing at that. All right, cool.
Blink twice if you
need rescue, Louis.
Yeah, if you need to rescue from Dan.
I'm getting your spots together. That's why I didn't say that.
Oh, okay, very good.
He's doing work for you, Dan.
No, thank you, Louis. I appreciate it. I love working with you, too.
Trust me, I would not be coming here at 5 a.m. if I didn't.
Oh, what a sweet man. Thank you, Louis.
On time,
I appreciate that.
every time, every day.
I paid him to say that. All right, very good. Moving right along. So one of the things, as I thought was interesting with this press conference, is that I believe that she is right. Caroline Leavitt is correct. Oh, real quickly, Louis, I'm sorry. I know you're trying to do my spots got all screwed up today somehow. We did the Daily Dan poll. Do you believe that Vladimir Putin is negotiating in good faith? Is because he's dragging his feet. I believe that Vladimir Putin is dragging his feet, and I think that he wants to just elongate this war with Ukraine. And a lot of other people that, I'm not saying this in a vacuum, a lot of really smart people, smarter people than me, have said that, including, by the way, Donald Trump, who says he'll have a great conversation with Vladimir Putin, and then, next thing you know, Putin is out there bombing the living crap out of Ukraine. What are people saying on the super text line? First of all, Louis, how did we frame the question?
Do you believe Putin is negotiating in good faith with Zelensky?
All right, and what did people say?
22% yes and 78% no.
78% said no. So all you people that attacked me on the super text line, more people agree with me that listen to WTN than you. We got a lot of Putin lovers here on the listening audience of WTN. I don't like either one of these guys, though. That's the thing. I don't like Zelensky. I've spent hours of time on my radio show blasting Zelensky at every turn. But Donald Trump clearly wants peace. And I know that when Trump says it wasn't his war, I mean, obviously that's true. He is trying to clean up not only the war, he's trying to stop the war, but also the bad policies regarding the war. With that blank check, no accountability, no end in sight policy of Joe Biden. That was the Biden policy. Billions of dollars to Ukraine, zero end in sight. There is absolutely nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, I appreciate Donald Trump trying to stop the war. And, of course, he also has now put into place NATO buying our weaponry, and then they ultimately end up giving it to Ukraine to deal with Russia. We'll have to see where it all goes. And I think that Donald Trump has done great work. We'll have to see whether both sides, whether we're talking about Russia or whether we're talking about Ukraine, but we got to see if both sides or either side is able to, convince the other to stop this war and come to an agreement of peace. I don't know, Joan, what do you think? It's got to stop sometime because eventually Ukraine is going to run out of bodies.
Well, I think Russia has that chance of running out of bodies as well. So
They can always get bodies from North Korea because that's what they were doing before.
yeah,
So
that's true.
I don't know.
I keep wondering why the people of Ukraine are not making an uprising about the leadership of Zelensky.
Well, we played that audio for you earlier
where
you've got all these people in Ukraine. They actually did polling in Ukraine where the people of Ukraine want a negotiated end to this war, and they want it right now. I mean, it was like an 80-20-ish issue in Ukraine. They want this solved now, and that is completely backward from where it was 2 years ago.
I think they bought into his bravado and, all that he was portraying of himself in the initial stages of the war.
Oh, there was a lot of propaganda.
Yeah.
There was a lot of propaganda.
Being propped up by a whole lot of other people around the world.
Oh, sure, including, billions of dollars in our taxes.
Yes.
All right, 7:52. Jones got the news at 8. Joan.